1937, a fading echo of the dirty 30s. It was the age for swing. Sammy Kaye, the Dorsey brothers, Benny Goodman. Still, the Great Depression meant hard times for many people in Canada, many in British Columbia. Well, they decided to build me, the Lionsgate Bridge. I was to be the largest suspension bridge in the British Empire. I was called by some to be a bridge to nowhere, which is silly, because if you build a bridge, it's got to go somewhere. It's strange, but very few Vancouverites took advantage of the ferry trip to Ambleside. To the average person, I was a non-event. A non-event. Can you imagine it? I wasn't that at all. If you took the loggers, laborers, painters, steelworkers in times of depression, I employed up to 400 people. I would say that I was a pretty good bridge. Certainly the workers didn't think that I was a non-event. I'm still pretty miffed about that, and of course a lot of other people were concerned about the desecration, as they called it, of Stanley Park. I think we did a pretty good job. Now, you have to understand things. Vancouver was expanding rapidly, and Guinness Investments were developing the North Shore and needed access to better sell their residential projects. You see, ferries were the mainstay. So in 1931, the British Pacific Securities Limited, financed entirely by Lord Southborough of Guinness, another British investor, and a British Columbian, A.J. Taylor, had bought up the two existing charters to the bridge granted by the province in 1926. They negotiated the necessary financing with the city of Vancouver. I was to be operated as a privately owned toll bridge. As all politicians tend to do, federal and provincial, there was lots of delays, but finally, after much pulling of hair, construction got into full swing early in 1937. $6 million of British financing, not a penny from provincial pockets. Don Jamieson was an iron worker on the bridge, and now, many years after the official opening, well, listen to Don.
It was the largest bridge in the British Empire. It would have been when completed, and while it was dwarfed by the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, it was still something to be employed on this bridge in Vancouver.
2 years after the first sod was turned, I was completed. $500,000 under budget. I opened to traffic in November of '38. People lined up all night to be the first over me, the toll, a huge 5 cents. The official opening came the next year, May 29, 1939. Even King George VI and Queen Elizabeth joined Vancouver for my celebration. In January of 1955, the province moved to buy me for my owners, and 8 years later, 1 minute past midnight, April 1st, April Fools of 1963, they lifted the toll, and even a maze of traffic couldn't lift the smiles of the faces of those who had braved the tolls for years before. The wide blue eye of the inlet that reflects my beautiful image has seen its share of troubles. An unemployed logger jumped for me just for the fun of it. He was okay, though. I'm a little tired of talking, so I'll let Clive Jackson tell you about my new coat.
You need 2 hands for this job. One for the paint, they're working their way through 500 gallons of it, and one for your lifeline.
Please, okay, then you take up most of it.
These painters are preparing to go to work, 480 feet above the ground. They're repainting the Lionsgate Bridge.
The life of your friends are in your hands sometimes, very often.
Ever get scared?
Well, do you want to, it's safer out there than it is on the ground. These frigging cars are, look, 57 cars in a minute.
I like the height. I like the freedom. It's just nobody bothers you, you know. You don't have anybody yelling at you or, you know, asking you for things. Once you're there, you're there. You just do your job and nobody bothers you, which is great.
Like most of these men, Stan Turin makes his living painting nothing but bridges. He started when he was just 13.
Didn't like schooling. So I went to my parents, I asked them, I said, can I quit school? And they said, yeah, get a job. I came home the next day full of paint. I haven't stopped since.
It's for Lionsgate's first major facelift in 10 years. The bridge's suspension cables, and there's an estimated 40 miles of them, are being painted silver.
What kind of paint is it?
Okay, it's an epoxy paint, 2-part, 90% solids.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so thick. As you can see, it's like, you know, just like mud. And what they're looking for is a barrier to, to keep the cables from rusting.
For working up here, they're paid $18 an hour. Even though they're attached to safety ropes and a harness, they know that one mistake can mean almost certain death. It's not a job for everyone.
We've had guys who've come apply for the job, take them up on a cradle, they go up halfway, that's it, down they come.
Alan Gazzo escaped from Czechoslovakia 3 years ago and has his own special reason for working high up on the Lionsgate.
To be free and independent here, I am feeling free and independent. So it's magnificent view, nobody bother me, rush under me.
Up here, the wind often blows at 25 miles an hour or more, forcing the painters to stop work.
Were you here on Saturday when that was happening? Oh, the guys were blowing out about 30 feet, eh? Yeah, on Friday too, yeah. That's wild.
But the wind causes other problems too. Even though the whole job's being done by hand, they can't help a few drips being blown onto the cars below. So far, a Porsche and a Camaro are known to have been hit. The $300,000 contract just covers the repainting of the bridge cables. But the painters say the underneath of the 53-year-old bridge is in poor condition and shouldn't be neglected.
She's in bad shape. She's not dangerous. No, there's no danger in it. But it's, it's deteriorating. It's, if it doesn't start to be looked after as, for sandblasting, some restoration done to the steel, it'll deteriorate and eventually it'll have to come down or they'll have to build a new one.
But for now, with the help of our Indian summer, they hope to have the cables painted by the end of October. And their reward for completing the job on time, a champagne dinner. Where else but at the top of the 32-story Harbour Centre Tower.
Thank you, Clive. That was 2 years ago. It's nice to get a new coat, even if it is paint. Now people use me for everything. They drive over me back and forth. Some people don't have cars, so they run over me. At least they're fit. Oh dear, here come those cars again. Some people don't like driving or running, so they even swim under me. They use me in every possible way. Those UBC engineers, always up to something. That's one car that didn't get a parking ticket. I'm such a splendid bridge that even the largest of ships like this aircraft carrier from the United States can pass under me. Everybody shows up to take a look at this handsome vessel. Boy, that was a close call. Just a few inches to spare. It sure can be busy around here. Now, I know you complain about me, traffic jams in particular, but I didn't invent the car. And I don't blow trees down either. As I said before, people use me for everything, even protesters. After 55 years, it's pretty tiring. I'll let Pamela Martin tell you about this next disruption.
Hanging from the Lions Gate Bridge, 300 feet above Vancouver's harbor. They'd succeeded in hanging their anti-nuclear banner. Now they were guarding it overnight. Greenpeace took to the high ground today, quite literally, in its war against warships. Lions Gate Bridge was the stage for this stunt. 2 climbers dramatically scaling the 300-foot-high south span with a message for the 11 U.S. warships expected here tomorrow for the Sea Festival. Traffic on the bridge was snarled for over an hour by the spectacle, while below, Greenpeace provided a luxurious boat to carry the media to the event and hold scenic news conferences explaining their campaign. Back on the bridge, Vancouver police arrest and peacefully haul away 4 Greenpeacers who had chained themselves to the bridge railing.
Okay, thanks very much. In you go. Have to take an knapsack off you, my friends. Get that again, maybe. I'll get it with me. Okay, hold it.
Mischief charges are pending against them, but for the time being, police decide, for safety's sake, to leave the climbers alone.
We're going to wait them out. We expect that they'll come down eventually on their own, and we're going to wait for them.
Why won't the police go up and bring them down?
We've assessed our course of action at this point. We don't feel that there's any particular danger to anybody at this point. We feel that there could be danger to the public, to the people up there, and to us if we try to get them down.
Finally, the unfurling of the giant banner, calling for nuclear-free seas in 10-foot letters, a message sure to be seen by our American Navy visitors as they enter the harbor tomorrow morning. But success can't really be claimed until the warships arrive tomorrow. So just to be sure the banner is still in place, the 2 climbers are prepared to spend the night here. They have food, hammocks, and a convenient cellular telephone. What are the conditions like?
Well, I expected it to be more solid than it is. Then it actually it vibrates with the passing traffic and it wiggles around in the wind a bit. Apart from that, I think I'm pretty secure here.
Well, do you think you'll actually be able to sleep in your little hammock?
Well, I don't know. I thought so. A couple of days ago, I tried it out for the first time. I've never done that before, and it tore on me. I was about 4 feet above the ground, so I hopped out quickly and patched it up. And I just hope it doesn't tear again, because I'm a little bit further above the ground now. I don't know. I don't think I'll get much sleep, but as long as my hammock doesn't tear again, I'll be very happy.
So this is how we left them. 2 Greenpeacers under police surveillance spending the night on a windy bridge. Finally, just after noon today, the 2 Greenpeace climbers came down, right into the waiting arms of police.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Davies of the Vancouver Police Department. You're under arrest for mischief under the Criminal Code of Canada. I'd like you to come with us.
Tonight, the pair faces charges of public mischief and illegally climbing a highway structure. Tomorrow, Greenpeace says it may try again, if any nuclear ships show up.
Thanks, Pamela. Well, in 1986, Vancouver was the host city for the World Exposition, Expo 86. What a success. It was an incredible success. I can claim some of the credit because they decided to dress me up for all the visitors to Vancouver. All this talking, I'll let Brian Coxford tell you all about that. But before Brian tells you all about it, you can see why they didn't do it before. As you can see, I gave a lot of people work again.
It was the kind of Vancouver night the Chamber of Commerce and BC politicians love to brag about. So Bill Bennett, BC's chief politician, invited 600 of his friends to go for a ferry ride to write a new chapter in the history books. You see, it was 48 years ago they were building BC's most famous landmark. The Lionsgate Bridge was part of a real estate venture by the Guinness distillery family. They had lots of land for sale in West Vancouver, but no way to get to it. They spent $5.7 million, but forgot to decorate it with lights. So just to place, the Queen of Tawasin is leaving the dock. The 170 lights have been installed on the bridge, and the 600 guests on the ferry are on their way to watch the lights being turned on for the first time. And their host says it's a night we'll all remember.
Really what we're doing is taking advantage of the very generous gift of the Guinness family to light up Lionsgate Bridge, and then when people come to Expo, whether they come by land or sea or air, they'll see Lionsgate Bridge.
It was Grace McCarthy who came up with the idea and convinced the Guinness family to pay the bill.
We were very enthusiastic about this idea. It's a very historic day, this, because 50 years ago exactly, in 1936, was the year when the approval was finally received from Ottawa for the building of the bridge.
Is this a memorable day for you then?
Very memorable indeed. I was scared stiff walking up that catwalk, and my father standing there with me. Well, I was 13 years old. It's been quite an experience for me.
As the ferry moved into position under the bridge, everything was in place to begin the lighting ceremony. At Park Royal in West Vancouver, hundreds of people waved tiny light sticks, and the Premier waited to fire the flare that would signal the turning of the switch. A big light flashed on top of Canada Place that sent a message to the ship.
How are you going to film?
Okay, just hold this now with two hands. All right, hold it, let's do it together. Okay, now, right, now, pull.
I feel rather emotional about it also. I think it's a beautiful occasion and a beautiful sight and something we can all be proud of.
Looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's, you know, you see the postcards and they show it as it is, and they just don't, it doesn't look real, but it's all very real. This is what Vancouver looks like.
And on the bridge, where a string of 170 mercury vapor lights shone brightly, there was a parade of antique vehicles, representative of the era when the bridge first opened to traffic 48 years ago.
Well, I'm getting old now. My sidewalks need a little repair, but at 55 years of age, we all need some kind of renovation. There's talk of a new bridge, some ultra-modern, no-character thing. Cost $121 million, and I only cost $5 million. And if they put a toll on it, it certainly won't be a nickel.
My attitude on this is that we should make it a user pay. We should put on the tolls that are necessary.
As I look back in reflection over my past life, I've seen just about everything. In the words of the politicians, I've served my country well. I've accommodated you in every possible way. The next time that you drive over me, take a close look at me. I'm a bridge of majestic splendor. Do you really want something new? You know what you should do? Leave your car at home. Walk over me. Get some exercise. The views are spectacular. Thank you for listening to me. And as I said before, next time you drive over me, don't look at me as just a bridge. I'm a thing of beauty.